Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everyone? Doug Pederson spoke to the media via Zoom, and if you didn't see it, he was definitely trying to make a statement with what he had in the backdrop. Super Bowl trophies, all this hardware. He was sitting there cool, calm, collective, and acting as if, excuse me, you saw that? I didn't know if you guys, I didn't know if you guys saw what was in the background. Okay, Dougie P. All right. But he had some interesting things to say. Jason Peters and Andre Dillard was obviously the biggest takeaway, and it seems as if, well, at least this is what he told us, that they are really intrigued with Andre Dillard, and they have a lot of confidence in Andre Dillard. And the only reason why I'm skeptical is because I've seen them butcher a press conference before with the whole micro debacle. Now, you would think that they would be at least more prepared based off of that already happening previously, but who knows with this front office? Who knows with Doug Pederson? So we will just have to see how it plays out. Now, before we dive into pretty much everything that was important that came out of Doug Pederson's mouth in this press conference, let's hear a word from my sponsor. The episode of Sports Talk with Broads is sponsored by Orbit Energy and Power, and they set the standard for clean energy. Whether you are looking to add solar to your home or company, Orbit works with you to ensure that you are getting the best deal. That's not all. Orbit can also provide water purification systems, backup energy services, battery storage, and more. So visit them online at orbitenergy.us or give them a call at 800-836-3987. So with the Dillard talk, I think that is the biggest discussion that occurred. And maybe it's possible that this front office, Doug Pederson, Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie, they wanted to show Andre Dillard how confident they were in him, just to give him some juice, just to beef him up a little bit, give him some confidence, right? Andre, you're our guy. We believe in you. That's always nice to hear. You know, people are banging on the desks right now saying, I want my competitor to compete. I don't care. I don't want him to be comfortable. Listen, it's nice to hear some positive words about yourself. And this entire offseason, I would say, majority of it has been Jason Peters, Hall of Famer. If he comes back, does that mean he's going to be starting? It's nice to just hear some positive words in your corner. So I think Andre Dillard should be very excited to hear that from his head coach. Now, maybe that's the game plan. Maybe that's what they are trying to do. See, I'm not taking this for face value. I will admit, this is the most they have talked about Dillard being the guy since he was drafted, which is crazy, right? I mean, we are talking about a first-round draft pick who's just been sitting on the bench, waiting for a spot. Wild. That doesn't happen in the NFL. This is definitely the first time that they have been to this extreme when it comes to supporting Dillard at the starting gig. So that's why a little bit of me thinks, is it possible? Are they really moving on? The thing is, we understand that Jason Peters is a phone call away. And if they believe that Andre Dillard can't do the job, there's no way they allow Jason Peters to just be on the open market for any team to be able to pick him up. So it has to be true, right? Like, it has to be true. Or am I getting sucked in? You can't take it for face value, because I've seen things be taken for face value before when it comes to this specific organization, and it never works out that way. We were literally told that Mike Groh will be back. He will be the offensive coordinator. Then they had one of the most embarrassing flip-flops in NFL history, and he's gone. So who knows? Who really knows how this is going to break down? Is it just to boost the confidence of Dillard? Do they really mean it? Knowing that Jason Peters is a phone call away, though, it tells me something. And even Adam Kaplan reported this on the Sports Bash with Mike Gill and myself from 2 to 6 on 97.3 ESPN. He said, look, you could take this to the bank. They wouldn't be calling Jason Peters and talking to JP and keeping that door open if they fully believed in Andre Dillard. So there is something there. Now, what is that something? Is it skill? Is it his work ethic? Is it his mental toughness? He played a little bit last year, right? He's played before. And I would say when he was in there, growing pains? Absolutely there's growing pains. That happens at that position when you're a rookie. That happens at that position when you're a couple years into your career. No one just hops into the left tackle position in the NFL and completely dominates. And if they do, God bless you. You found one hell of a left tackle. So I don't expect him to do that. But from what I've seen, I'm intrigued. I think he has the skill set. Does he have to learn things? Yes. Yes. He has plenty to work on. But from the wide picture here, I saw plenty of things that make me pretty damn happy with Andre Dillard. And I'm excited to see what he can blossom into. There's something holding this Eagles team back. And it will be really interesting to see what happens if JP does get the phone call. Is it possible? Is it possible that he's on the market so long that he would go with the Eagles to be that swing backup guy? I can't imagine. But if the alternative is no football at all, maybe. It's crazy to think that there's not a team out there who needs a left tackle. Jason Peters, he's up there in age, sure, but the left tackle position is so important, as we all know. How come no team is taking a flyer on him? Does he want too much money? Does he want an extra year in there? Maybe he's not satisfied with more than maybe he's not satisfied with a 1-year deal anywhere else other than Philadelphia. It's weird. It's odd. Here in Philly, we are spoiled. We are spoiled in that position. Go through the list. Plenty of elite left tackles. So we assume after a couple false starts of Jason Peters that he's washed. He can't play. He can't compete. When that's not the case at all. And there's plenty of organizations that would die for a player like Jason Peters, even at this age. It's pretty damn crazy. It really is. So, they're telling us they're confident in him. This is the most we've seen them be vocal about it, but I just don't know if I can fully commit based off the fact that, well, hey, JP, we got you on speed dial. Now, why is that? Because I can't imagine him coming back and being a backup. So why is he on speed dial? There is a reason why. Do they not believe in the kid? Is it something where they're throwing him in there saying, listen, we drafted him first round. We have to get him in there. We need to commit to him. We have to because we drafted him there. Like I said, it's not like he was a dumpster fire when he was in the game. Problems? Sure. The worst problems ever? No, absolutely fixable if he's determined to do it. So let's see how that plays out. Let's talk about this scheme offensively. Doug Pederson claimed that you wouldn't really see much change to the naked eye. And look, I used to actually write all my notes in these, not the black marble copybooks. Is that what they were used to called back in those elementary, middle school days? I don't remember. But I had the standard like binder books, right? No. We've upgraded. All right, we're going full Microsoft Word, typing these bad boy out. We're printing these bad boys. I think it's way better. Look at all these notes. I can actually read. I couldn't read my handwriting sometimes. I didn't know what the hell I was saying. But we got notes here. And when we look at the scheme stuff, Dougie P claimed that you wouldn't really see it from the naked eye. And that's interesting, no? You now have so much speed. You have Deshaun Jackson. You have Jalen Reagor. Miles Sanders being in a different role. Jalen Hurts, their second-round pick. Jalen Hurts, someone who will be a gadget player. I would think you would be able to notice some offensive changes, Maybe less 12 personnel. Get some more wide receivers out there at times. I'm just a little shocked. Now, are you just going to openly tell everyone, well, coaches around the league, this is what we're going to be doing. We're changing everything, and this is how we're going to do it. No, it would be silly for Doug Pederson to just walk up to the podium, or in this case, sit in his office on Zoom and start blabbering everything they are going to do, which will change the entire offense. But there's got to be more than just changes that you won't really notice. I hope we will notice different things. You didn't really have speed last year. That changes everything right there. Boom. That's one thing. Adding speed, guys. Boom. It should change everything. Once again, though, face value. Can you take that for face value, or is he just giving you a bunch of blah? Because to me, that's a bunch of blah. You will see this offense change. Whether that's because of execution, whether that's because of X's and O's, a combination of both, having different players on the roster due to their specific unique skill set, a combination of all three. There's no way in hell you are telling me that you will not notice changes to the naked eye. Let's hope so, Dougie, because if not, I would say that this Eagles team is in trouble. Scangarello's in the mix now. Maybe utilizing a little bit of Kyle Shanahan's offense, which would be sweet. But let me ask you this. If they do that, wouldn't you say you would notice? Don't you think that that is something that you will be able to realize? Kyle Shanahan's scheme, you got all kinds of misdirection stuff and people moving around, players in motion. The hell was that last year? Wasn't there at all. You saw more creativity in that 2017 Super Bowl run. You can utilize some of that, sure. But once players started going down last year, which was fairly early, may I add, the offense was completely different from that 2017 team. Before we move on, let's hear a word from another sponsor, Ravens Brew Coffee. You know me, I'm addicted to coffee. I drink 3 billion cups a day. And I've had so many different variety of coffees out there. Nothing is better than Ravens Brew. The moment it hit my lips, oh, I knew. I can tell on the first sip when it's steaming hot and it touches your lips. Not too hot, though. Not burning your mouth, but you can tell on that first sip. Oh, yeah. I love my coffee black, so I can tell instantly. Now, the beauty of Ravens Brew is there's so much variety. And there's different caffeine levels depending on what time of the day it is. If you like night coffee, you can get coffee that has less power so you can still go to sleep. That's my problem. But I love that. I love staying up late as hell. So I'll drink a cup of coffee at 10 o'clock and I'm staring at the wall, but I love that. If you don't, you can get a brew that has a small amount of caffeine or no caffeine at all. Go check out their website. The link is in the description. Ravens Brew Coffee. The phrase of the press conference was grass time. It's not the same without grass time. And absolutely. Now, Doug is going with the mentality that the NFL will be just rocking and rolling like normal time. And I don't see how you can go with a different view at this point, right? Now, it's funny. And this was brought up on 97.3 yesterday. And I thought it was actually hilarious the way that we view this. Take away coronavirus, which I know is hard to do. But take it away. It's May right now. If I said football season, you'd say, oh, it's so far away. We got to get through the dog days of summer. We got to watch so much more baseball. Football so far away. Now, because of everything that's going on, we are now afraid that football's too close and we might lose it. Oh, but football, it's going to start in, August. What if it gets pushed back? Now the same window, is totally viewed differently because it's a possibility of not being here on time. It's pretty funny how that works. But for Doug Pederson to say, listen, I'm just going with the flow. I'm preparing as if we will be back in that facility with the players. I don't see an issue with that at all. But I do understand where he's coming from, where these Zoom meetings, that's great, but it's not the same at all as grass time. Jalen Hurts was brought up specifically about that, and he's talking about learning the playbook and taking it slow because it's not the same. Now, Jalen's doing a good job at spitting back information, which is awesome, and I like to hear that. It's better than hearing something like J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, where he doesn't know the playbook and he's struggling to learn all the positions. But it's going to be a work in progress with Jalen Hurts, and you can spit back information all you like. You got to go out there and execute. If you're on the field and it's not really working, it's not really flowing, you're missing certain stuff, well, it's not beneficial at all, of course. It's going to be tough for these undrafted players, for these rookies, to get implemented and to be able to rock and roll if it continues to go this way with Zoom. Now, you're hearing about facilities opening up, but only in certain areas. Tom Brady was actually just throwing the football at a high school in Tampa Bay with a couple of his teammates. Maybe you start to see players doing that, quarterbacks working with their skill guys. I mean, things are starting to come together here. Let's hope it continues to go in that direction. But as of right now, these Zoom calls, it's not the same as grass time. But Doug Pederson did mention that Jalen Hurts is learning the playbook more than just the quarterback position, and that's how I took it. The way he worded it, I took it as he's learning more than just the quarterback position. But that's tough to do, right? You're a rookie. Imagine being a rookie trying to learn the actual playbook from a just quarterback position. And then now, how about some wide receiver routes? How about beating these NFL DBs and defensive players when running routes? It's going to be tough, especially when you can't actually do it, right? And look, reality is Jalen Hurts is here. I'm not going to bash him every time he's brought up at this point. It is what it is. He's here. I'm rooting for him to succeed. I'm rooting for Doug Pederson to put him in positions to succeed. I want to see the kid make it work. It does bring up a question, though, with the backup quarterback, because Nate Sudfeld was brought up. They told me just a few weeks ago, right? Maybe a month or so ago now. I don't know. Time all joins together at this point. But they were a quarterback factory. That's what they do. They groom these quarterbacks. Well, I guess that's why they brought up Nate Sudfeld. I think early on in this season, this becomes a veteran football season. Football teams are going to have to rely on the veteran players, and Nate Sudfeld is one of those for us. He knows exactly what we're doing, and I have a ton of confidence in Nate to become the backup quarterback. Nothing is ever handed to anybody, and I always try to create competition in every position, and quarterback is not exempt from that. But I fully expect Nate to come in and be aggressive and become the backup to Carson Wentz, and then with Jalen Hurts. Jalen is about, right now, just picking up our system. Are we going to take it a little bit slower? Maybe with him until he grasps the offense? You might have to. And that's fine. I mean, it's ridiculous to think that Jalen Hurts could just walk in instantly. Especially with these circumstances. But Nate Sudfeld, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. You're going to see a veteran quarterback brought in here. Is it going to be Josh McCown? Is it going to be somebody else? I don't know. There's no way that they are going to be relying on Nate Sudfeld to be the backup quarterback. Maybe similar to the Andre Dillard thing to try and boost some confidence. Maybe this is Doug P saying something loud, saying, yo, Nate Sudfeld, bring it. Bring it. To try and just, light a fire under his ass. Here's your shot, baby. Take it. But there's no way in hell. I can't imagine that. There's no way that this team believes that Nate Sudfeld will be able to actually be a legitimate backup quarterback for them. I believe they said things similar in the past when it came to Nate Sudfeld. But they're a quarterback factory. So maybe they have to go with this. They're forced to do it if they continue this way. But I'm telling you, I can't imagine. I know for a fact they would have signed Joe Flacco if there wasn't any neck problems. They're still looking for that spot. It's the face value effect. It will not get by me. Will not get by me. I'm not a sucker. Although sometimes I am. And sometimes things get by me. What are you going to do? We'll end with this. Field Yates actually reported that he thinks the most underrated move in the NFL the whole entire offseason was Roby Coleman and Will Parks. The combination of those for the price tag. You're playing around $3 million. Insane. That's great. I'm actually super pumped for these two players, but I feel like it's getting blown out of proportion at the same time. Both on one-year deals, and there's reasons why they're not where they were last year, right? And I'm not trying to downplay what they can do. I think Will Parks is super pumped to be here in this area, in Philadelphia. There's something to be said about that. Some players just rise to that occasion because they are so stoked to be in a specific area. It seems like Will Parks has that extra oomph because of that. And Roby Coleman, small player, no doubt, but when it comes to that slot position, experienced, and he can totally make plays, and I'm pumped. If you're looking at it from a value standpoint, how much they were getting paid, how much they got paid to come here, and what they can bring, yeah, I get it. I totally get where he is coming from. I do. I just feel as if some people take this and run with it to the point of these players are elite superstars, and I don't think it's to that level. Price tag versus, I'm sorry, not verse, but price tag plus production, possibility of production, that is. Yeah, I can see where he is coming from. I just don't want to take this out of context and make it seem like we just got two elite superstars in the NFL for $3 million combined. But the more and more I think about this secondary, the more and more I'm intrigued. I don't know how Avonte Maddox is going to be on that opposite side of Darius Slay. I think there'll be times where he struggles. We did see him struggle last year. I believe the matchup was Devontae Adams, and that was a tough go for him. Now, I'm not going to criticize him and say he's a horrible DB because of one game against a really great player, but we did see him struggle at times, and I think he thrives more in the slot. I think he's got a great attitude, a great skill set. He is on the smaller side to play on that outside. I'm just not sold. I don't think he'll be bad. I don't think he'll be great either. We'll have to see. I'm just so intrigued by this secondary. Will Parks, Wallace, the draft pick from Clemson in the safety position. Jalen Mills in the safety position. Roby Coleman. You got Crayvon LeBlanc. You got a lot of guys thrown in the mix. Darius Slay. I mean, I'm pumped to see Darius Slay. And that kind of just segues into what I want to get into here real quick is InsideTheBirds.com. Jeff Mosher and Andrew DeCecco had a little battle on their website when it comes to who is the best addition on the defensive side of the football. And Mosher went with Darius Slay, which, I mean, I can agree, right? You got a player who can shut down the opposing number one wide receiver. Of course that's going to be one of the best pickups on the defensive side of the football. I mean, the Eagles have not had a cornerback like that in 5 billion years. I mean, seriously, it's been a long time. So picking up a player with that type of not only skill level, but leadership qualities and respected veteran, and he's done a tremendous job throughout his career with Detroit. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. This is a big-time, huge addition to the roster that I don't think we understand it until we see it. Don't get me wrong. Everyone knows who Darius Slay is. Everyone has seen him do work against opposing wide receivers in this league. But until you see it for the first time, second time, third time, until you see it for a full game when the wide receiver on the other team gets 2 catches for 22 yards or something like that, then you're really going. You know, then your blood is really starting to boil with entertainment and hype. Not so much getting red in the face, throwing your hat at the TV and grabbing your remote and chucking it against the bottom of the couch, which I don't do. A lot? Maybe? I don't know. Love the addition of Darius Slay, though, and I totally see where Mosher's coming from. But DeCecco might have the most underrated pickup by the Eagles this offseason, and it's Hargrave. Next to Fletcher Cox, Malik Jackson in the mix. Some other defensive tackles, of course, Brandon Graham, Derek Barnett, Josh Sweat. Just wait. Very similar to Darius Slay. You don't appreciate it until you see it. And I'm not saying people don't appreciate Darius Slay. They absolutely do. But I think more so with Hargrave, until you see him next to Fletcher Cox and with Malik Jackson, I don't think you understand what this kid can do. He had a great run with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it's even going to be better playing next to the players on this defensive line. And with Jim Schwartz and with his scheme and with his mentality and how pretty much it starts up front, he's going to thrive. I am pumped. I am stoked. I am so excited to watch him specifically play because I just feel as if he doesn't get enough credit. He hasn't been noticed enough. That pickup, stellar. And we talk about a window. Where he is now with age, 27 years old, that window's there. That window's there. You're going to see like the prime of his career here in Philadelphia as long as he's able to stay healthy. But that's the beauty of it. You don't really know what Malik Jackson's going to be after this season. Let's be real. Fletcher Cox, back 9. Let's be real. You just picked up a player that when you look at your scheme and when you look at this defense and you look at how this organization has built their team for many, many years in the trenches, which is the right way to do it, you just solidified an important spot for a decent window. So I'm stoked to see him play. I'm stoked to see him put his hand in the dirt. Go after the quarterback. That's all I have for you today. That was fun. I need more press conferences. I need more Doug Pederson press conferences on Zoom. Normally, I'm not huge on dissecting every single press conference because a lot of it is just fluff. A lot of it is just bull. But with the times right now, there's no games to react to. I need to hear these coaches speak, and I want to hear what they have to say because we're in such a unique environment. Now, sometimes like this, you do get a little out of it. I think you get some things out of it. There's a lot of fluff involved. You got to find your way through it. You're sort of in a maze, and there's all those red lasers pointed, and you got to kind of duck under it and find your way through the maze without ticking off the lasers. Ticking off the lasers would be equivalent to believing some of the bull that they say. But sneaking through is kind of getting past all the face value and finding your way into the important information and the little comments here and there that pop, pop, pop. But I'll say with Dougie P's presser, you got a little how do you do out of it. Better than most, I'd say. I always find it interesting when he speaks, when Eagles media gets together and interviews Howie or Doug Pederson. Not so much Jim Schwartz, though. It's Doug and Howie. I feel like they are a dumpster fire. For as good as they are in their specific roles, when it comes to speaking and talking and communicating, aha! It's so funny to me. How is that? How can you be good at your job, so good at your job, in certain aspects, let's clarify, and be this bad when it comes to communicating together? Like, here's my thing. Doug Pederson didn't just hop on the call and not have a conversation with the front office members. Very similar to Mike Rowe. That Mike Rowe scenario is bonkers. It's mind-blowing. It's almost impossible to do. If you communicate it correctly, they prepare. It's not like, hey, let's hit the start button. Hey, Doug, what's going on? No. They come together, they say, okay, this is how we're going to answer these questions. They have a PR team for a reason, and they still find ways to consistently butcher things. The Eagles, a well-respected organization. Crazy. One last time. This episode of Sports Talk with Broads is sponsored by Orbit Energy and Power, and they set the standard for clean energy. Whether you are looking to add solar to your home or company, Orbit Energy and Power works directly with you to ensure that you are getting the best deal. Their team has over 20 years of experience, including working on Lincoln Financial Field. They provide water purification systems, backup energy services, battery storage, and more. So visit them online at orbitenergy.us or give them a call at 800-836-3987. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe, and I will see you next time.